Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. If you're wondering why I'm in a hotel room right now, it's because it's my birthday while I'm filming this, and I'm staying at a resort right now. My last video on Mall World did do pretty well considering this is a new channel. I wanted to come back and talk a little bit more about Mall World. One of the most recent dreams I've had pertaining to Mall World takes place in a giant mall. And this mall is not dated in the slightest bit, although in other dreams I've had, the mall seems to be living in different time periods. But this mall is definitely a very modern looking mall. Fountains and escalators, and it's very like marble and new looking. I enter this mall and I'm with like a friend, a boyfriend. I don't exactly know who this person is. He does look familiar, like somebody I have met in real life before. We go into this mall for one sole purpose. We're trying to get into a theme park. Now the theme park is right next to the mall, which I'm pretty sure on the Mall World map, the theme park is somehow close or next to the mall. So we're in this beautiful new giant mall with stores everywhere, multiple levels, escalators, kiosk, restaurants, movie theater, you name it. It's all in this mall. Supposedly in this dream, the theme park was brand new. When we go to the mall, we're there to get our tickets for the theme park. And when we see the line to get into the theme park, it's wrapping around the entire mall. I'm telling you, this mall goes on for what seems like forever, and so does the line. So we get our tickets and we get in line. I look down at my phone. Now, I want to preference how important this is because tons of people out there say that their phone doesn't work in their dreams. And this kind of goes along the lines of that. Whenever you try to use your phone, which is crazy, we use our phones every day in real life. We stare at our phones for hours on end, most likely. You're staring at a phone probably right now. But in your dream, your phone seems to barely operate. Have you noticed that? In my dream, I look down at my phone and it's on 15%. So we cannot go to the theme park today and enjoy ourselves if my phone is on 15%. I have to find a fuel rod. Now, I don't know if you guys know what fuel rods are. They're like portable chargers that they sell at theme parks, at malls, usually in vending machines. So in the dream, I'm like, hey, you get in line and I'm going to go try to find a fuel rod for my phone that's on 15%. So I'm walking around the mall trying to find a vending machine that has these. And the mall has everything but these vending machines. So I venture even further down the line in the mall and I see a kiosk that says like fuel rod on it. I'm like, yes, this is where I can finally get a charger for my phone. And I go and the case that would be holding all the fuel rods is completely empty. And I guess everybody else in the dream, their phone is also dying as well. And multiple people are trying to find these portable chargers for their phone. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I wake up shortly after this. I never made it to the theme park. My entire dream basically consisted of me walking around this mall trying to figure out how I was going to charge my phone. In another dream that I had, I went back to the mall in Mall World. But this time, the mall looked like it was stuck in the 80s or 90s. This mall was not new looking in the slightest bit. It was very dated and looked very similar to an older style mall. Everything was mostly white. There was no marble, just the architecture. Everything looked like an 80s, 90s mall. I do want to add there was like an atrium area where there was a really high ceiling with all glass on the top. And then like little areas with trees, little square areas with trees like this. I forgot the actual name to them, that were like kind of in a line in the middle of this atrium area. And that was kind of like one of the entry points to the mall. This mall, once again, is massive. Multiple levels, multiple stores. I'm going down the middle of the mall and it kind of branches off to a side. And the rest of the mall, it's pretty well lit, but this side of the mall was very dark, almost as if every store was closed, nobody was over there. It was just kind of a creepy, dark, uninhabited vibe. But I walked over there anyways into this dark corner of the mall, and I come across a store. Now, it wasn't really a store, it was more like an experience. It was kind of labeled as, or felt like it was a laser tag place, an escape room, one of those kind of things, with this guard person out front. I want to say it looked like a knight in shining armor, but it also kind of looked intergalactic, almost like alien-esque. But it wasn't an alien, it was like a person in a costume. But it was also giving like Squid Game vibes, because I could hear screams from coming inside this place, and not like, we're having so much fun. Like, help me. In the dream, people were like, come on, let's go inside. It looks like fun. Let's go inside. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not going in there. It was giving the vibe that if you went in, you weren't coming out. This is like a Squid Game type escape room laser tag place where you're gonna go in there and you're gonna die. It had like neon lights. It looked really cool. It honestly kind of looked like Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. It looked like that vibe inside of this like store. Really cool looking, but obviously I'm not going in there because I don't want to die. And so once I got this bad vibe of this like experience / store, I was like, I gotta get out of here. I ran away from it, and I was on like the second level of this mall, and there was openings. You know how when you go in malls, you can look down to like, the first level. I jumped into the opening and started flying. I was literally flying between level 2 and 1 of the mall. I was like, yay, I'm flying, I'm getting out of here. I remember seeing like Christmas decor. You know how malls have like Christmas decor? I remember seeing it as I was flying. That was also pretty cool, but I do want to preference in a totally different dream. I was in this exact same mall with a kind of similar situation. In the atrium area that I was telling you about just a little bit ago, there was a restaurant and a playground. And I do want to say everything was very white. Everything in this mall was super white. In this dream, it was the same thing. Someone was calling me, telling me they were trying to pick me up. And I was like, I don't know how to get out of the mall. I enter the playground thinking the playground is going to like somehow lead me to an escape or an exit of this mall. And I end up just getting stuck and lost in the playground. And then I never actually get out of the mall. I do want to say that this 80s, 90s style mall does have a darker, creepier vibe to it. Kind of run down, kind of shabby, kind of dark corners, me having issues getting out of it, versus this other very new mall that I had in 2 other dreams. The first dream that I told you about in the first video, and then this other dream with the phone, those malls had a very happy, like, good vibe, and the older mall did not. But the thing is, I don't ever recall leaving either mall. So that's kind of a weird thing to preference. Now, while we're on the subject of phones not working in dreams, I do want to say in another dream I had recently, I filmed something. Like something crazy happened to me in the dream, and I pulled out my phone and filmed it. And I remember being so frustrated in the dream because I was like, when I wake up, I can't show anyone this video. This video is not going to transfer over into real life. Now, another dream that I had fairly recently was in that same kind of realm where I heard a song, and it was such a good song. And I remember waking up, hearing that song in my head and being like, I'll never find this song again because it doesn't exist in real life. But where's the crossover here, right? Like, what is real life and what isn't? Is this mall world? Is this dream realm real life? And this isn't? As I said in my last video, I do have some crazy theories on all this stuff. How whatever timeline this mall is in, or dimension or realm, whatever you want to call it, it exists somehow parallel to ours, possibly a simulation. I don't know. I don't fully believe in the simulation theory per se, but I do think that there are other timelines somehow running parallel to ours. That is something I do want to say for a whole video in itself in regards to the backrooms, timeline jumping, multiple dimensions, all of that. I do want to talk about that, but we'll get into that some other time. Whatever this plane of existence is, I think the living and the dead can access it somehow. Now, another dream that I want to talk about that exists within the Mall World map is what I call my concert dream. Now, in the other video, I said I went to a concert, like a concert venue in that dream. I went to basically the same exact concert venue in this dream as well. There was tons of people there and the place was trashed. All of the trash cans were overflowing and mostly with clothing, which is kind of weird. I do not know why people were literally throwing their clothing away. In both dreams I had relating to this concert venue, it seems like everyone was in a different state. They didn't seem very awake. They seem like they're either drunk or on drugs. Maybe that's just crossing over from real life where most people at concerts or raves or whatever usually are. But every time I visit this venue in my dreams, everyone seems to be on one. There was like a huge grassy knoll area, and that's usually where the concert, like, or the stage or whatever takes place at. And then there was like a street where all the trash cans on the street were overflowing with trash and clothes. And then next to that, there was a whole bunch of industrial buildings. And inside of each of one of these industrial buildings were bedrooms, just a bed and a nightstand. And the dream kind of implied that people were partying in this grassy knoll area and then going off into those bedrooms and doing what you think they're doing. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I remember going into a room with a guy in the dream, and he's like this gross guy that I didn't want to do that with. So I like instantly left. But I went in just to basically check it out and see what this place looked like. Within that same dream, I kind of traveled beyond this industrial grassy knoll concert area and went into a more whimsical looking area. It was almost like the buildings started looking like you were at a theme park. The way you would see a building in like Pinocchio or like Beauty and the Beast or something. They were very fairy tale-esque. It was the same thing as the industrial building rooms. This little whimsical fantasy village was full of nothing but beds. Now, I don't know exactly what this dream is trying to imply. I don't know if anyone else has had something similar to this, because I know a lot of people have very similar dreams pertaining to the toilet world. I had a dream that was like the toilets, like a whole bunch of them, but it was beds, lots of beds in nooks and crannies of this like crazy universe. So as of recently, from what I can remember, I have gone back to the mall multiple times. I saw the theme park from afar and it looked crazy. It looked like it had water slides and roller coasters and a Ferris wheel and all this stuff. But I never actually got to the theme park because of this giant line wrapping around a mall. Instead of a toilet world, I got like a crazy freaky party bed world. I don't know if anyone else has had anything similar to this or any type of similar dreams. I do know we can all relate to the fact that none of our phones seem to work properly. And until someone can figure out how to use a phone in the dream realm and get it to cross over into reality, we'll never know what we're all seeing. Imagine if somebody figured out a way for you to get your phone to work, and then you can show people in reality what you saw in your dreams. Maybe there's a correlation there, why phones never work in dreams. I honestly don't know. Maybe someday we'll get to the bottom of that. Perhaps someday I'll get artistic and I'll draw out the map of my mall world. There's one dream I want to discuss that I had when I was a little kid that does kind of break the barriers between reality and the dream world, because me and multiple people simultaneously had a similar dream at the same time that crossed over into real life. But I feel like that deserves its own separate video and explanation because that dream was just so crazy. I had it when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and to this day, I still remember it like it happened yesterday. I'm very appreciative of everyone who's been subscribing recently because this is a brand new channel, and I am shocked that my videos are getting as much traction as they are. So thank you for being here, and I promise I will make way more content like this. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you. If you enjoy this kind of content, that means you're cool as hell, honestly. No debate there. I will see you guys in the next video. So until next time, peace out. Bye.